I find that I get more creative urges when I kind of just give my brain different things to do. Like if I give my brain some new paper or a different pen or just looking up random images. The art's a little abstract, so that kind of makes sense. Just switching things up a lot definitely helps. Every single time that I do a drawing, I sit down, I get everything ready, I get my desk very clean, I brush everything down, make sure that there's no dust. I wash my hands. That way everything's completely clean, not going to smudge any dirt or anything on the paper. I always sit down with a coffee and then I go. That's about how it goes down every single time. Sometimes I watch a video, sometimes I'll listen to music, sometimes I'm in silence, sometimes I'm in a voice chat. Most of the time I'm watching a YouTube video or something, and it's usually completely unrelated to art. I do find that sometimes if I'm watching a video about art, my art will look similar to the video. Anyways, I've been trying to come up with better topics, as I've said many, many times before. One really good source of topics is stories, and I've noticed, like, over the years, there's lots of different channels that have popped up over the years that are just really good at telling stories. There's, like, the video game people, there's the animation people, like, there's the people that will just sit there and play a video game and narrate a story that's completely unrelated. There's people that will do an animation telling a story about their life. Interesting how storytelling is really the crux of every video. If you just have good storytelling, you don't really need to have a good video, you just need to tell a good story. Some of that comes back to being a good storyteller, which I don't know if I am, which I probably am not, but it doesn't matter. Speaking of things that bring me creativity, I think that I'll sometime in the future talk about like inspirations, artists and media that have inspired me over time. I think that everybody is inspired by a certain degree of things that just shapes how they perceive art in general. I mean, from the viewer perspective, whatever art you've connected with in the past probably changes what art you connect with in the future. Like the art that a non-artist probably is interested in looking at is probably the same art that they would be interested in making if they were into making art. Speaking of changing things up, there's so many different art styles. I find it interesting that every single artist has like their own art style that builds up over time, but there's like no right and wrong there, especially when it comes to like comic book art and comics or cartoons. There's more leeway there. Like you can draw really funky looking characters, and so long as they're consistent, then it can be considered like a style. I do think that maybe I should practice character design more or try to find a style for characters. I need to work on building like a whole scene. I mean, there is still a degree of right and wrong when it comes to art and stuff, but it's a lot less strict than people probably think it is, unless you get into that ultra realistic stuff. But honestly, like ultra realistic stuff, like, I mean, we have AI can produce a lot of that stuff now, and we also have like cameras to take very nice photographs. Back in the day when cameras first became popular, at least this is from what I know, I might be wrong about this, but when cameras were first produced, portraits started to phase out. And I think that's around the same time that, I don't know if it was abstract or like some sort of symbolism or something started to come in to popularity. And it was mainly just because of the invention of the camera. And I think that has, or at least will have some impact. Similarly with AI taking over these highly detailed, even artistic looking things that they might not be real things that we could take with a photograph, but now we can generate them with AI really well. It makes more sense to try to maybe make something that's more connected to a specific like person or something. Like for example, my art I feel like is a reflection of my brain and what it likes, and the lines and the curves and the shading and everything is like based on what my brain likes. And I think that that's something that an AI will never be able to do unless it can. I mean, if it could copy my brain, maybe. A little bit of mystery in art is good. A little bit of mystery in any sort of media is good. People love mystery. Anyways, I've been rambling on this video for a while. Not sure what it's going to be when I chop it all down. So I'm just going to bang out a couple questions here. Or not a couple questions, but a couple topics that I have. Most of these are like favorite things. So I'm going to bang them out really quick. So, favorite game consoles. The PlayStation 2. Glorious. That's at the tippity top. What else? I mean, there's other good consoles, but maybe I should just mention my favorites. But yeah, PS2 is pretty good. And definitely below that, if I really had to put one there, I would probably be, oh, that's a difficult one. The Super Nintendo, only because it has so many classics. Like if I had to choose one to have for the rest of my life and no other, and have the whole game library, the PS2 is a no-brainer, because the PS2 has I think the PS2 has the most games out of any game console, but I'm not quite sure. It has a lot of games. There's like 800 games. I know in the modern day, the number 800 doesn't seem like a lot, but for a game console, the amount of games that it has on it, that is a lot. Like compared to Steam library and stuff like that, it's nothing. But that's a completely different ball game, you know? As far as favorite games on that system, the PS2, you got Ratchet and Clank, Sly Cooper. I mean, mind you, I probably spent more time of my life overall at this point, but the PS3 played a lot of Call of Duty Zombies. I played a lot of Black Ops 2, both multiplayer and zombies. Anyways, next thing, favorite season. I'm gonna have to go with fall, autumn, you know? Gonna have to go with autumn. Here's the thing. I used to say winter most of the time because I like the cold. But over time, as I gotten older, I'm not as resilient to it. So I'm starting to not quite like the cold as much. So the fall is kind of, it's a debate between the fall or the spring. But the spring, it just slowly gets hotter. And yeah, sure, you get some nice flowers. But what's more nice looking, in my opinion, is the autumn colors, the orange and the browns, and those are really cool colors. I think it really makes everything look great. And you get the leaves on the ground. Really changes things up. I don't know. Some good contrasting colors there. What else do I got? How do I like to take my coffee? I usually go 2 cream, 2 sugar. But very occasionally I leave out the sugar. About half of the cups, I would say, I leave out the sugar. And that's just because I like it both ways, and I'm just trying to make it healthier. Favorite holiday, I'm gonna have to go with Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving's pretty good. You got a lot of food. It's delicious. You got the turkey and the gravy and the mashed potatoes. And if I had to choose a favorite part of Thanksgiving out of all of those foods and stuff, that's a hard one, but I'm gonna have to go with, I mean, stuffing is pretty good. Definitely used to be my favorite. Hard debate between that and just mashed potatoes and gravy. What else? I never liked Brussels sprouts, but then one time at Christmas, my sister cooked Brussels sprouts and brought them. And they were delicious. I don't know